Hey y'all, welcome to Horrible Gaming. My name is Nora, and on today's video we are going to be tackling several of your requests. So many of you have been requesting for more Japanese content, and I do want to let y'all know that that content is never going to be leaving my channel. Even though we do other themes, the Japanese theme is always going to be part of my channel because I personally enjoy that aesthetic a lot. So I would be miserable if I never did that theme ever again. So rest assured that even if we don't do a Japanese build on YouTube right away, it is going to be always coming in the future. So today's video is the first episode of our new series, and our series is going to be how I develop my Citycore islands from beginning to end. And I want to do this for a natural as well in the future. And I decided to do the Japanese theme for this first video series because it is some of my heavily requested content. Y'all are always asking for more Japanese speed builds. So I thought doing a series would kind of be, a great way to finally tackle a lot of these requests. And I will do other themes like this as well for Citycore, but I thought doing a Japanese one would be really nice. And I'm gonna try to figure out, because I have no idea how to do it, by putting like an organizer on my videos, so y'all will have, the Japanese city series all in one area, and then the natural series, etc. So that is definitely in my plan. So we are going to be learning how to do transition areas, how to develop areas behind your buildings, all of that good stuff all into this. And if you're not doing a Japanese theme, the tips in this series will still be very useful for you. So I hope you still continue to watch this because it'll help you get a general idea on how to transition in those spots that you have been asking for in the comment section. I also want to add, I always check my comment sections, so if y'all ever have a theme request, just drop it in the comment section below, and I promise we will get to it eventually. I want to remind y'all that I get a ton of requests from my Instagram and from YouTube, so I always put these requests on a piece of paper, and I'll move down that list, so we will eventually get to everyone, I promise. So I guess with that being said, let's go ahead and transition to the game. So all codes that we use on this build will be included in the video's description. As we progress it, I'll keep adding the codes that we use per build. And the roads that we are using for this series are by Crossing Kokiri again, so if you have followed me since my road tutorial video, these are the same roads but in the cherry blossom season style. I also added my own pieces to it, which include the Japanese words, the 30, some sakura, crosswalks, and a road crack. I wanted to add these pieces to her design just to add my own personal flair to it. So I will have these uploaded to an MA as well, and I will include that MA into the video. And that was also some of the codes that I'm kind of considering on using with this build. I'm thinking we're going to make this build kind of like a Tokyo theme with some rich brown. So kind of like modern meets the brown aesthetic. That is my plan with this. Hopefully it goes well. And I also want to add a really cool subway build into this. So it's going to be a lot different from my last two cherry blossom islands, because I was like, oh my gosh, I've made like 2 cherry blossom themed islands. I feel so bad about doing another one. But then I forgot that YouTube and Instagram are 2 different places. So I'm justifying a 3rd cherry blossom theme for that reason. But I also really love Japan aesthetics in cherry blossom season. It's one of my favorite seasons in general. So I'm really excited to kind of do a better version, I guess, in a way, of my very first Citycore. So unlike my usual speed builds that you see on my channel, this series is going to be more in-depth and have also longer videos. I plan to do a lot more breaking down the basics into this series because many of you have come to me saying that you're new to Citycore, you don't know how to transition areas, or you don't know how to move, your island from a certain spot. So hopefully this series and this island in general can kind of be your guide. If you are somebody new to Citycore and you just have no idea on a layout, don't be afraid to copy this island from start to finish. That's what this series is for. So just rest assured that you can take as much inspiration as you need from any of my videos in general. I know I've had a lot of people asking me on my Instagram, being like, is it okay if I take inspo from this? And I just want y'all to know, yes, yes, yes. You can always take inspo from any of my builds. So I will be recording one video a week of this build to progress it. So I will not be working on this island at all off camera. It is going to be strictly for y'all, so you know how I start to finish an island. I also will be doing, alongside with this series, my usual speed build requests that y'all give me and other content that isn't AC related as well. So like you've seen my codes, my biggest advice with Citycore in general is organizing your codes. This is going to make road placement easier for you if you are a newcomer to Citycore, but it also keeps your design slots very organized. If you want to organize your slots and they're very messy looking right now, all you have to do is hold down the Y button and you can switch the spot of where the design code goes. Definitely organize your codes if you haven't done so yet. If you have any specific requests for this build as well, definitely let me know in the comment section, because this build is literally for y'all. So anything y'all need help on, just let me know and we can include it on this build if it's possible. So one of my biggest things that I suggest when you start a Citycore is by mapping out your road layout for your entry. So that is what I'm doing right now. What I like to do is map those out, and then I start prepping my transition areas next. Even though I don't plan my Citycores at all, this is kind of my way of planning it in a way. So right now I'm gonna trial and error this layout and see if I like it. And then if I do like it, we'll go ahead and start adding some transition areas. While I prep transition areas too, I also like to map out where I want to start some Citycore builds. So once we get to that point in the video, you'll start seeing me map those out as well. One of my other biggest advices when it comes to Citycore is to come into every single build you want to do prepared. That means coming with all your items, materials, etc. If you're someone who struggles with getting the materials needed to craft and make these type of builds, I suggest joining my Discord community, which is linked in the video's description, and we have free treasure islands that you can raid and get all the materials you need to make your dream Citycore island. Keep in mind that these islands are hosted as time allows. My mods and admins both have jobs and families, so we try to host these at least every single week. And if you don't know what Treasure Island is, it's basically an island full of DIYs, materials, and lots of good stuff that you could use on a Citycore island. We also offer several other themes for Treasure Island as well, including a cottagecore one and a tropical theme. So definitely go join that Discord if you are wanting to get some free items and avoid those outrageous Nookazon prices. I also want to add, if you want to help support my channel and also help me grow as a creator, consider becoming a donator or a booster to my Discord. Donators and boosters get special perks and you get put into a special VIP club. There's a lot of cool details with these things on the Discord. You'll look on the channel section and there will be a channel called Perks, and that's where you need to go to get all the information regarding that. So a little off topic, on my last video I mentioned that I was working on a modded island, and this was a swamp core theme. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, head over to my Instagram because I've been sharing photos of it, and I plan to actually record this island for YouTube. I do not have a DA for this, and I don't plan to ever, because modded islands sadly get reported. But like the modded island tours I've done in the past, we're going to be doing a tour on that, and I'm also going to talk about modding and a bunch of questions y'all have been asking me on my Instagram about it too. So it's about 80% done. I'm thinking that I will be finished completely with it sometime this week. So I didn't realize how much fun I was having with modding, and I'm determined to start doing more modded islands now. And I know that we can't have a dream address, but like I said, we can record every single island, and my VIP, Discord, boosters, and donators also get to go to these islands. So that's another thing you can get if you donate to my channel or boost it. So I'm going to be hosting a little swamp party, definitely with some friends from VIP on my Discord, and then I'll definitely record it. And I think I'm going to do for YouTube some model swapping, which means that you can't see this as a regular player, only modders running the same mod can see this, but I still want to go ahead and do it because there are some really cool things that I want y'all to see. So as you can notice, I put down a incline, and I'm gonna go ahead and put these swinging benches down, and I do this so much on a lot of my Citycores. It's the illusion that this is like a modern styled fence, And so I am like putting it as a rail against the terraform to kind of like finish this little area off. And my plan with this piece of terraform, because it's obviously really awkward, is to place 2 villager homes on it and then just frame it off. This hides my beach a little bit and it just makes it feel a little more cozy. So as mentioned earlier in this video, we are going to be basically going through every single step throughout this build. Now, if y'all aren't interested in seeing a cherry blossom island, if you are one of my Japan followers, let me know, because I can do side builds along with this series too. Like if you aren't doing cherry blossom season, we can do some rural style or, you know, fall Japanese builds alongside this series. But I wanted to go ahead and continue this series and just make it in general, because I know a lot of my followers are doing cherry blossom season and they don't really know how to transition areas yet or go about continuing their island. So this series hopefully will apply to a lot of people who have been in my DMs asking for help. I also want to add that a lot of people in my comment section have been asking why my footage is so fast, and I do want to let you know that it's called a speed build, and basically the footage is meant to be fast and sped up, because this build took me, it is literally 2 a.m. right now, and it started at like, I don't know, maybe 10 at night, and so I've been at this for several hours. So I speed up the footage because this footage that I took would be very long. So as you can see, I go back and forth and I run back and forth as well on the island a lot. I do this because I like to see how things look as you walk through the island, and this is something that maybe isn't super useful for other people, but for me at least, it helps me to notice how things are flowing and looking as I build. I like to decorate as well as I go and then add more details to it as the build progresses, and this is kind of like my normal routine on any kind of build that I do. I do this on my naturals, on other Citycores, the list goes on. So over here by the entry, I'm going to be doing this little half build for a house just to kind of like blend the terraform out and to blend into Chester's house that this is a bigger home. So I am basically just going to place these loft beds, and they come in different colors, and you can get these in your Nook's Cranny. And I'm just going to go ahead and customize the top as a dark brown shade, and we're going to kind of frame this terraform out to hide it. This also will look nicer than just placing a bunch of simple panels. Now that I've finished off the entry to hide that terraform out, as you can see, I'm starting on another build, and this is just a random apartment complex. I don't really know what else it could be, so I'm just gonna make like some random apartments around the entry to kind of like fill it in and make it more cozy. And you're also gonna see later how I transition behind these buildings, and I'll talk about later as well what we're gonna do behind them. So some builds that I have planned for this theme are the following, and you will get tutorials on all these too, because we are documenting all the island. So I want to do a giant school, because you know, what is a Citycore theme by me if it doesn't have a school? I literally put one on all of my themes, but I want to do like a giant school, like probably the biggest one that I've ever done, and then do like a really nice lookout from it of maybe some rice fields. I don't know. So give me some ideas if you are interested in a cool lookout. But I thought rice fields with like, you know, shrubs and like a train lookout could be really awesome. And then I also want to do a very big subway area, and I also want to do several things like a post office and maybe some interactive grocery stores. But like I mentioned earlier in this video, if you have any specific builds, definitely leave them in the comments section, because we can squeeze them onto this island. But I do want to try to add some areas where we can use our villager houses inside said builds too. And I do want to do at least one temple build on the island as well. So hopefully by now you can kind of see what our basic Citycore items are going to be. And if you want to do more of a modern theme, be ready to basically have a ton of bookshelves. I literally use hundreds of them every time I do a Citycore. And if you are somebody worried about the lag on Citycore, some things that I have learned on reducing said lag are not decorating every single stall. Spacing things out for sure will help, and also doing areas like a large lookout. That's why I do a lot of scenic areas on Citycore in general. So water also can help with the lag and reduce that. But For the most part, I don't really focus on trying to make it less laggy because everybody who follows me knows that I like to do a lot of details on my island, but I'm gonna try my best to not clutter so much on this, so if you are recreating this island, it won't be super laggy for you. So now I am prepping this spot for another building at the entry, but I want it to have a transition behind it. So this transition I think is going to lead towards a road and some other shops. I'm not quite sure yet. As mentioned earlier in my video, I wing all of my themes, so I really don't have a plan yet on what to do behind that. But if you have an idea on what I should do for this location, let me know and we'll see what we can do about it. So now that I have expanded the terraform out, I'm going to do the half build style again on this side to hide that terraform, but instead of it just being like a half style to blend into that villager home, this is actually going to be a legit house too. So I'm going to use another bunk bed, and then I'm going to use another stall, and then just kind of like play around with this area until I like it. So now I'm gonna work on the second level, and this is gonna have a roof as well to it, so it's a little bit different from our other builds that we have done tonight. And I'm gonna use Zen fencing on this, and I suggest using Zen fencing for basically any Citycore, especially if you're gonna go for a modern look, because it literally looks like a roof tile. And I discovered this on accident very early when the game released, and it has been my go-to since. And I've seen a lot of awesome builds used with Zen fencing in general now on Instagram, so it is definitely a really great staple for Citycore. So before I finish the second level, I'm going to go ahead and place all the custom design needed in this location. And as you can see, I'm doing a little preparation for a sitting spot. And I actually did this style on my very first Japanese city. So like I mentioned earlier in this video, this is going to be a better version of Hewn City. And I shared actually a video of Hewn City very early on my channel, and it was like these Japanese speed apartments. So we're basically going to be recreating an updated version that doesn't have backwards crosswalks. I noticed that after I released my DA and deleted the save, and I was way too lazy to go rehunt the save that I deleted. So I was just like, whatever, I'll eventually just redo the whole island. So here we are, and our crosswalks are actually correct this time. Another thing that I am obsessed with on Citycore is using solar panels, and you can get this actually inside Plaza from the Nook machine, and it requires Nook miles, but it is a staple if you're wanting to do a realistic rooftop. So I like to mesh these into my Citycore randomly so it's not too matchy, and you're gonna see us place one actually on the build that we're working on right now. So now the top level of this building is pretty much ready to go. We're just gonna go ahead and add a tree here to kind of like blend it out. And then on our next episode of this, when we release it next week, we will continue this second level. I went ahead and placed the 4 simple panels in front of those bookshelves, and then now I'm gonna go ahead and prep the other part of this building with the rest of the simple panel codes needed. I'm trying to not make my building super matchy this go around, but very similar in style as well. So we're gonna see how this goes, and my codes may change as we build on this island, but for now this is the designs that I have chosen. So now I'm gonna go ahead and prep this little sitting spot, and we're using a lot of Imperial furniture. I also customized this table with a stained glass window design, and I'm gonna be customizing the cushions with actually a lantern design too. And I do this a lot on my Citycore so I don't use up all my slots too quickly, and screen codes and things like this look actually pretty good on customized items. So that little stained glass window just adds a really cute touch to the sitting spot. I also want to add to this video that on my Instagram I have several Citycore highlights, and highlights are the clickable circles that I label. Inside them you're going to find a ton of different cool codes, and I have also a ton of different Japanese codes in those. So if you want to go check those out to get some codes for your island, I definitely recommend heading over there because I add to them almost every single day, and I kind of just stash away all the cool codes that I see. So we are now nearing the end of this video. Let me know what y'all thought about this first episode, things that you hope to see in the next future episodes as we work on this weekly, etc. I had a lot of fun finally starting a series like this for you, and I can't wait to do more things like this. Also stay tuned for a non-AC related video coming to my channel in the next few days. We are finally getting down to editing it, and it's been sitting in my video section tab on my computer for like weeks now, so I can't wait to share this with you. It is the Walking Dead Telltale series, and it was my first time playing it, so please be open-minded to my channel having all kinds of different gaming, just like I used to do on my Facebook streaming. I'm wanting to bring that content back to my channel. Anyways, thank y'all so much for watching, and I hope you have a horrible day.